Hello, truth seekers, light bearers, light warriors, and anything else that's good. This today is a session on something that's really exciting, I think, and that's going to change the way that we behave in the world. I'll see you in the next part. So what I'm going to talk about today is a mixture of things that have come to me through my meditations and also things that I've heard from other people who channel. Especially I've been recently listening to a guy who's here in Spain, a Spanish guy, and he channels and has some tremendous insights. Okay, so let's start first off by something that I've noticed. Right, when I first started in business, what I noticed was that business was very cutthroat. This was in the 80s, okay? And it was, if you are in my team, then you're on my side, you're okay. And then if you are not in my team, you're a twat, okay? And that was how it was. It was like, if you're not in my gang, I'm going to try and beat you, I'm going to try and hurt you. And then during the latter part of the 80s came this things like the minute manager, this new way of looking at things, which was, instead of win-lose, win-win. Yeah? And it was lovely. I was part of that. I was part of team working, and I spent lots of years helping teams to form, and learned all about the dynamics of teams. It was wonderful. And then everything went upside down, or to use the expression as we use it in the UK, tits up. Everything, it just all went wrong again, and now everything seems to be very cutthroat again. And I know why, because that was heading in the wrong direction for the agenda of that time, which was no, we're in the world of the baddies. In the baddies, win lose. Okay, so that's where we were long before the 80s, and it came across in education. In fact, it came across in any area in which there was knowledge held by the few. Knowledge held by the few. And this was how it worked. I have all of the knowledge, you have none of the knowledge. That means I have power. And because I have the knowledge and you don't, I will impart to you knowledge at a cost. And I won't give you all of the knowledge. And when I give you the knowledge, I will speak at such a level that you will struggle to understand what I'm saying. Right? Now this is really old school. This is like, I know, you don't. Ha ha. Okay? Now, that's been with us for a while, and there's still some archaic. I mean, here in Spain, if you look at the civil servants and the language that comes out, spews out from the government, it's all about, I'm going to talk at such a level that you can't understand what I'm saying. And for example, if we get a letter, an official letter from the tax man, which invariably we do everything right, and we still keep getting letters telling us that we have to pay money. When we read them, now Spanish is my second language, when I read it, I haven't got a clue what they're talking about. I don't know what they're talking about. And so I ask my wife, who's Spanish, and I say, what are they saying? And she reads it and she says, I don't know. I'll have to ask my father, who was an accountant. And then a father reads it and he says, well, I think it's about... there's something wrong with that picture. If the government wants to communicate with its people, it's not right to use language that people can't understand. What is the point? Communication, the power of communication is not what you say, it's how you're understood. That's the real power of communication. And it's always been my belief that if you were going to speak so that people can understand. Don't speak to try and show how intelligent you are. Don't speak to try and show how wonderful you are and how much you know. Speak so that people can understand what you're saying and actually take something from it. That's my belief. It's not just my belief. What I'm saying now, what I'm saying happening all over, right? We've got the new press, right? The new media. What is the new media? These are these digital warriors, digital soldiers, call them what you will. These are people who are spending their entire time interviewing people who have skills, talking about people who have an ability. But what I'm noticing is this, and this is just everywhere I look, people who have tremendous abilities, who are being given channeling abilities, who have been given healing abilities, who have been contacted by higher realms. And when they talk, they are absolutely bog standard, normal people. If anything, sometimes, I listened to a guy who's healing people. He was contacted. His mind was blown by what they gave him, what he could see. He could start seeing auras and energies. He can heal, and he is from Gateshead, and he is broad Geordie, and he speaks like a broad Geordie. Well, I man, you know what I mean, like that, and he's healing people. I mean, this is Jesus Christ stuff. He's healing people, but he has no airs and graces, no pretensions. Another guy who takes out the parasites, the psychic parasites, the spiritual parasites, whatever you want to call it. Some would call it demons, but he calls them parasites. And he's just a standard guy with his regional accent and no airs, no graces. And this is what I'm starting to see, is that the common man is getting the skill, and that this old archaic, this knowing, this I have information but I'm not going to give you it and I don't use it, and so it's of no value. They're no longer important. That's what's happening with the media. The media is losing ground. The media has died, is dead to the vast majority of the people now. Nobody's interested in hearing words. They want to see action. Words, we've had enough of words. We're up to here with words. Words have been mankind's downfall. They've been the hypnosis that has kept us under control for so long. And we're tired of it, and we want action, we want doing. And this is what I'm saying. And it reminds me of the expression, and I'm a teacher, okay? Bear in mind. But somebody once said a long time ago, those who know do. Those who don't know teach. Okay? And look, that isn't always the case. I'm a teacher, but it's a difference of being able to, can you walk the walk as well as talk the talk? And this is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing walkers, people who are walking the walk, they're just doing it. And sometimes they don't even know how to describe how they're doing it. And yet they're still doing it. And so this is a new, for me, this is a new movement. This is where we're moving into the new world, which I'm going to come on to. We're moving into a new world, a completely new world in which mankind has its own sovereignty, it has its own power, and we do not give our power to these people who purport to have our best interests at heart and don't, who purport to know everything and be all powerful and aren't. And we are starting to take back our power by doing it ourselves, with no airs or graces, with no highfalutin words. Okay? So this is really nice, this is refreshing. Which brings me on to moving into the new world. So I was listening to somebody who was talking, everybody's talking about December the 21st, why it's the winter solstice for us and the summer solstice down below in the underside of the world, if that's true, if the world isn't flat. We'll see, we'll find out one of these days. And what they're saying about it is there's an alignment of planets that hasn't been aligned for 700 years. Okay, so it doesn't happen very often. But the guy that I mentioned, the Spanish guy who channels, he's also an astrologer. and he is an extremely knowledgeable astrologer. He's incredible when he talks about it. He kind of blows my mind and loses me. But what he was saying was that this 21st of December is the step change. It's the pivotal change, and this is what I'm being shown as well. This pivot, the train tracks are changed that day. And he says it's when we officially move into the age of Aquarius. Now, we all know the song, "This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius." That's where we are. Now, what does that mean for us? What that means is the age of Aquarius is the age of light. It's the age of unity. It's the age of moving toward peace. Peace and security. Okay? And so this is a big step change. This is going to be massive for mankind. What he says is that suddenly, right, let me put it into context. The truth movement is a disaster. It has been. It's been a disaster. It has been fractured and infighting, and one saying he doesn't know what he's talking about. I've got the truth, and I've got the truth, and he's a liar, and he's a organized. What's it called? Where the infiltrate and the disinformation, all of that. Okay, it's a mess. It has been a mess until recently, and suddenly, what's happening is that the groups are starting to unite. Now, what this guy was saying about the 21st of December is this train track change. The points are changing. Well, that is going to be the start of cooperatives, groups, being able to unite for one purpose. Okay, and this is the problem, that we've all had different purposes, but now we've got one purpose. And what he's saying is that we're going to start seeing groups and organizations really coming into their own and being able to command far greater thrust and influence on all of these people who are waking up. Okay, and which is lovely. Which brings me to the next point, which is in meditation. I was meditating on the current situation. You know, as it happens in the UK now, they've said in Parliament that by no means will they put any restrictions on people who don't have that. No restrictions, and it's against the law to put restrictions on. It would be not racist, an ist word. It would be an ist word. You see, I don't have the words either, just basic. It would be an ist word to make people put restrictions on people. So they've said no, they're not going to do it. But lots of people have that concern, or that's in the UK, but there are other places that are talking about not being able to fly places. You know, I think Qantas already did that and said no, unless you've had this, you can't fly with us. Theatres and clubs and all kinds of restaurants, unless you've got your little green card, you can't get in. So lots of people are concerned about it. So I was kind of meditating on that, and what I was given was this. And they said, don't worry about that, because that will happen. There will be companies that will put restrictions on things. Many. But at the same time, because of this change, this cooperative that's going to start to develop, we will start to see, and they give me these words. Now, I don't know whether that'll be the case, but it's going to be something along this line. They give me the words, we're going to start seeing freedom stores, freedom bars, freedom restaurants, freedom airlines. Okay? And what that means is people are going to set up centres where you can't go into a supermarket because you haven't got your green card. Okay, there's going to be a supermarket for those who aren't, and it's going to be called whatever, freedom, but we're going to know it because it's going to be set up for us by those people. Remember that this is only for the minority. The majority of people do not want it, and the majority of people are going to stick their heels in, and the more time that goes on, the more people are going to stick their heels in. Okay, despite what the propaganda is saying about how wonderful it is, and people crying about, enjoy, oh my goodness, and people going on the television, they're going to be injected in front of everybody just to show how wonderful it is. And of course, there was somebody in Australia that was caught out that were getting it supposedly like a politician, and they hadn't taken the cap off the needle. Now that wasn't good, and that came out. So remember, what we see on the TV is fakery. It's fakery, it's witchery, it's wizardry. Nothing is real anymore. Nothing is real. And just because somebody on the TV appears to be having something put into the arm, it could be anything. It can be a placebo, it can be saline solution, it can be whatever they want. And they've even got those needles that, for Hollywood uses them, where it looks like it's going into the skin, and you can plunge it, and it's not. So don't even believe. I know you don't watch the news anyway and stuff like that, but that's where I think we're going to go to. Remember, this what I see happening is this: the people who choose to take this are consenting. These are consenting beings. And now what does that mean? If I understand it right, and I understand what's in that, okay, and what its intention is, which is to change the RNA, change the genetic structure of people, so that they lose their soul, that they lose their sovereignty, that they are no longer human in that original form. Now, for those people, there is no return. At the moment, there's no going back. Once you've lost your humanity and your sovereignty, once you have consented to whatever you want to call it, the mark of the beast, whatever you want to call it doesn't really matter. Then there is no return. Now, there are rumors that part of this is to take away people's spirituality, and they want to attack a certain gene, which is the fundamentalist gene. Well, no, it's basically any spirituality that you might have. There are rumors that's going to take that away. What that means is that those people who go down that road, who take it, have consented, they have given themselves over to that side. There's no return for them. And they will be the ones who become aggressive, who become violent, who become angry, who become furious and critical of anybody who isn't in their cult. And they won't be able to come out of it. So they will be constant, permanent supporters of the cult. Meanwhile, the great crowd of us will be doing our thing, right? And all that's going to happen is we're going to end up with communities of us, whilst all of this mess has been sorted out, and it will be sorted out. This is not forever. This is a transition. So I believe that we're going to see a change. It's going to be a turn. It's going to be, light is going to be shone on the situation. And there are going to be some people who choose. Why have they been shouting for so long? Choose your side. The sides have to be chosen. And what better way to choose than that? Give me it or no, I do not consent. And if you notice, the message is coming through over and over again. We cannot mandate this. We can't. I mean, they can't anyway. They cannot. It goes against every fundamental right of humankind. Even the Nuremberg trials said nobody can be given one of those against their will. Okay? Under no circumstances. And so they can't do it. And plus, the fundamental rule of the universe is freedom of choice. This is a free will planet. We must give our consent, and this is why they're doing two things. They're saying, we're not going to mandate it. You don't have to have it, but isn't it great? It's going to set you free. Okay? You're going to be able to travel. You're going to be able to do everything. And at the same time, understand, this is the propaganda, but they must tell us the truth. So at the same time, they're saying, and nothing will change. You will still have to social distance and you still will have to wear a mask. But it's going to set you free. But it won't set you free. Do you understand what happens? This is what they have to do. They must tell you the truth, but then they'll sell you the lie, and they'll go, well, we did tell you that you still have to wear a mask and you still have to social distance, and that nothing really has changed, and that it doesn't cure anything, and that it only alleviates light symptoms. We said that. You know, this happens. It's like the politician comes out and says, we commend everybody to get this. This is very important. This is what's going to create herd immunity, and it's going to be wonderful and everything. And then a little man toodles out afterwards. Nobody's interested in him, and he says, now I'm going to talk about the actual benefits of this, and you will still need to. Okay, that's the one you need to listen to, because he's telling you the truth, not the propaganda merchants. Okay, but I know for you it doesn't matter, because you've made your decision anyway. But it's just to be aware. It's when we see the machinations, I don't know how you say it, see, not good on words. When you see that, it protects you. When you know what they do, you are no longer a victim of their process. And this is so important. This is why these kind of videos, the ones that everybody's doing, highlighting what's happening, it's ever so important, because then you're protected. Then you can't be fooled. You can't be fooled when you know. This is why the television, when I watch the television on those horrible, shitty moments in which somebody obliges me to have a conversation next to a television, the only thing that my mind does is goes, look, programming, hypnosis, propaganda, and that's all my mind does. It drives me mad. I can't sit and watch the TV, because my mind is just going, be careful, alarm, watch out for that, that's bad, oh. Okay, so there's no pleasure, and that's because I know. And when you know what you know, you're safe. Okay, and it's when you don't know, that's when they've got you. Okay, so educate yourself, keep yourself up to date. All right, don't hide your head in the sand, because that doesn't help either. You must educate yourself so that you protect yourself. We need to protect ourselves. We need to be ready. It's interesting. What we've noticed, I was talking to my wife about this, and she was saying, have you noticed that the people who attack us for our beliefs only have a very small amount of argument? Like they'll say, you'll say, well, be careful, because that has mercury in it, and it's very bad for you. And they say, always the same one. Why the only arguments that they have are arguments that have been given to them by the propaganda machine. And they say, do you know, all you have to do is eat a tin of tuna, and you have consumed the same amount of mercury as you get in that. In fact, more. Okay? And they go, ha ha ha, debunked. And then once you know, I've heard it that many times from people, the same thing. And then I say, okay, but you do know that 80% of your immune system is in your gut. And so when you ingest things the way that God planned you to ingest things, then your body is able to manage that far better. So it's one thing to eat that amount of mercury, and it's another thing to bypass every God-given protection that we have and inject it directly into the bloodstream. That is the problem. And you know what they do when you do that? They say, idiot, negationist, and that's when you know you've won. It isn't that you've won, but they don't have anything to back up these insubstantial claims that they have, these empty, echoing arguments that they have. They only have one argument, and they go, and they feel great about it. Look, I got him. You try and push them any further, and the only thing they can do is to call you a name. And that's when you know that it's over. When they call you a name, that's it. They have run out of argument. And they had shit arguments anyway, and they normally only have one. Okay? And then, we talked about this, and then if they don't know where to go, they just go, can I have a link? Right? And we know what to say about that. So we are fully prepared We are fully educated. We can have open dialogue. Most people would be very happy to say, let's sit down and we'll talk about it. Let me give you what I have, all these months of investigation, in my case, years of investigation. And I'll tell you what I think. And what have they done? Passively heard a few, like 3 or 4 arguments that for them are fantastic and they use them every time. Why? Because they're not even theirs. They're just empty vessels, echoing, sounding off, rattling. And what a shame. But anyway, that's their stuff. And if they want to, great, and they'll join the cult. You know what I said, there's no coming back from there for the moment. But you know the tale. This is what happens. In the great war of Armageddon, in which we are in, okay, Jesus comes on the stallion and he saves the world. And he takes all of the devil and his hordes, right? These hordes, they're the people who are attached to him, and they get thrown into the fiery hell of Gehenna, whatever that means, a metaphor, okay? And then all of us go off and ascend to 5D paradise, and we have a lovely time, and we open the champagne and we say, whew, that was a tough one. And we start hugging one another and creating cooperatives and being all happy and glee and gay. And then Jesus feels bad for the people that he's thrown into Gehenna, and he goes and saves them anyway. And then he takes the devil and he throws the devil into a pit for 1,000 years. Okay? So those people, don't worry about them. They're making a decision to do something that's going to make life hell, literally. But they're going to be saved eventually. We're all saved. We're all part of God. We all go back to the same thing. So you don't have to feel sorry for them. All right? You don't have to feel bad about them. You don't have to feel guilty. Let them do their thing. It was foretold. And our thing was foretold too. So we have to do our thing. Okay? All right, I'll leave you with that. And I'll see you on Monday. Have a lovely weekend. Bye-bye.